Adam here from the Walser Automotive Group, but what I want to do today is take you on a winter weather test drive. So next to me here, I have the all-wheel drive Hyundai Tucson. So we'll look at the interior, exterior, some of the trim level specifics, and see if this might just be the perfect SUV for you. All right, so now we're behind the wheel of the 25 Tucson, and this is the SE trim level. So there's a handful of different trim levels. This is just the starting point, yet you're still getting a ton of really cool equipment in this model, and it only gets better from here. Now, got my cell phone with me, as we always do. This one's got a convenient little cubby down here. You can get wireless charging as you move up the lineup, but you get the 12.3-inch display, and all models come with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So I've got that paired up. It's really nice and safe when I'm on the road and makes it very simple. Now, the goal for today is to show you how this handles with the HTRAC system. So what that is, it's Hyundai's all-wheel drive system. So there's a few different drive modes in here you can use as well that can help you out. But for now, let's put it in drive. We'll talk about that a little bit more. So we got about a half a foot of snow over the last couple nights, so the roads are still a little slick, a little slippery, but I found an empty parking lot here to try out some of the different drive modes. Now what's cool about this, you can set either a sport mode, my drive, which kind of customizes between a sport and normal, and then you get the snow mode. So what the snow mode can do is kind of limit your RPMs and work with the traction control to give you the best possible bite in some of that heavy snowfall. So with this parking lot here, they kind of plowed half of it, but there's still a pretty good amount of snow kind of piled up. So I wanted to put it into the snow mode here and see what it really was like if I get traction or if I'm calling for help because I get stuck. So let's dive into this snowbank here and see how it does. You can almost feel the system. So it's an intelligent all-wheel drive system. So most of the time it will be kind of in a front-wheel drive to help you get the best possible fuel economy. But when you mix those different drive modes, or when the vehicle starts to sense some of that slipping, it can pick up and help with the rear wheels to help you get that bite and traction. Now what's great about this, it's gonna help you from getting stuck. Maybe you've been stuck in the alley in your neighborhood before. It's not fun and it's not a good place to be. So with the HTRAC or the all-wheel drive system, helping you get that best possible bite and traction is definitely a really cool feature. Then if you put it back into the normal mode, you can just use that. Obviously the all-wheel drive system is still going to be working during that system. Just the snow mode will help you out a little bit more. But overall, I'm very impressed. I don't even think I got any wheel slip going through that stuff. It just plowed right through about a foot of that snow, and you know, it really is when it's coming down heavy and the roads are icy, that's when the all-wheel drive really does make a pretty big difference. Now the Tucson does come standard with front-wheel drive and a 2.5-liter four-cylinder. So that four-cylinder is going to be paired to an 8-speed automatic. So there's no CVT option for the base Tucson. The 8-speed automatic's just going to be kind of the base system, but it does work really well. It's about 187 horsepower, I think it was. And you know what? It's not the fastest vehicle in the world, but it gets you moving and it does get you pretty great fuel economy in return. Now there is also a hybrid Tucson. So if you're looking for even better fuel economy, that would certainly be one to check out. But even this base SE, you're looking at 30 mpg on the highway or about mid-20s combined. So that is pretty good. Now, this is where the all-wheel drive kind of really shines, where you get that slush and kind of junk built up between intersections. You can feel the all-wheel drive biting in and helping me out. And I just can't stress enough, even with snow tires, front-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive makes a pretty big difference. But if you even put a set of snow tires on an all-wheel drive vehicle, it really is unstoppable in these Minnesota winters. Now, this one does get a different wheel option compared to some of the other Tucsons, but there's a lot of great equipment in this model. Now, the SE, like I said, is the base model, but you're getting the 12.3-inch Apple CarPlay, so I've got Google Maps, text messaging, Spotify, all of that built right into the system here. It's a very responsive system. It's one of the best infotainments out right now, I think. It works very seamlessly. It's just, there's no lag in the screen at all, and I can use the voice control here on the steering wheel. Then if I click that, the new Siri that just updated will pop up on the outside of the screen, and you can use the voice controls. So again, your safety and your focus is kept on the road. Now, speaking of safety, this vehicle does get an adaptive cruise control system, so you can set 3, 2, 1 car length. Feel I take my feet off the pedals, that's going to hold that distance to the vehicle in front of you. And I've also got blind spot monitoring and emergency braking in this vehicle, plus a safe exit. So if the kids are trying to jump out, maybe you don't see traffic coming, it will actually keep the door locked and not allow them to jump out into traffic if it senses another vehicle is coming behind you. So those are really cool safety features, especially if you and your family are in the vehicle. That's absolutely some of the best standard safety out right now. Now, what about the interior? So from the driver's seat here, you just have your standard seats and steering wheel, but they're really comfortable. You can actually kind of pump the seat up or down if you would like, so that's kind of helping you get the best possible location for where you want to drive, and visibility is great. Like I said, with the blind spot monitoring, that definitely helps out, but it's a large rear window. The window's really big in the back. Some of the crossover SUVs, it does get a little hard to see and you get big blind spots, but these pillars are nice, and I love just all the visibility and ease from the driver's seat. Now you still get physical buttons. So this particular one would keep the home and the map button on here. So you can click map to pull up the Google Maps or the Apple Maps if you have that built in there. And you can also click the search feature to help you find some stuff. Now the standard Hyundai screen will remain in here. It's got a little swipe down to adjust some of the settings in there, or you can go through and change some of that safety feature stuff. If you don't want all that on, you can obviously turn that stuff off. One other thing that's pretty cool down here by your drive mode is there's a little camera button. So if you're stopped, you can click the camera button that pulls up the backup camera. Also, it obviously would come up when you put it in reverse, but pressing the button just lets you see. Maybe the kids left something in the driveway, you're in a tight parking spot, can't quite see around you. That is a really cool feature there. Now then, you also do have the all-wheel drive lock. So I can't remember the exact mile per hour, but you can lock it in the all-wheel drive. If you're trying to get out of a tight situation, maybe it's just a little bit deeper snow or you're trying to pull somebody out, that can certainly help you there, which is pretty cool as well. I mean, overall, the roads are covered in slush, there's potholes all over the place, it's freezing cold. I think it's only about 20 degrees today. And I can't believe how quiet and comfortable it is in here. It heats up really nicely, as this one did also have the remote start as standard. So I think it runs for about 10 minutes. It was nice and toasty when I hopped in here, melted all the snow off the windows. That is pretty cool that the base model even comes with the remote start. And even through the Hyundai BlueLink system, you can even use some more of that safety features, keep track of maintenance, and your remote start would be in there as well. What about the second row? That's got the USB-C charging back there. Those seats actually do recline. So if you got the kids or rear passengers, 4 adults easily could be comfortable. I was comfortable back there. I had headroom where I'm sitting and driving at 6'1". I was very surprised at just how much room you do get. Now the base model doesn't come with the sunroof, but there is an SEL convenience package. So if you're looking for just a little bit more equipment, you can add that in as well. Now that would include just a few additional driver assist features, that sunroof, a built-in nav, and then you would get the digital gauge cluster. So this one is just going to be the standard analog gauges that you can actually change if you want to adjust the color. But when you go to the SEL convenience, then you can get the two 12.3-inch displays with just a little bit more usability to keep track of some stuff. So what about the price on the Hyundai Tucson? Now this one with the all-wheel drive, that's about a $1,500 difference to go from the front wheel to the all-wheel. And I mean, you're still right around the MSRP of about $32,000. So with a few discounts maybe going on right now, you're looking at a $30,000 SUV. When the average new car price right now in the US is over $48,000, you're almost 20 grand under that, and you're getting things like the backup camera, wireless Apple CarPlay, the standard safety features, and the adaptive cruise control. I mean, there's a lot to like on the SE. And if you want a little bit more equipment, or you want to bump up, maybe get the HTRAC seating or some heated seats or even cooled seats, you can get all that equipment as well in the Tucson. So I think if you're cross-shopping SUVs, you're looking at maybe Honda, Toyota, even Nissan. I mean, there's so many options right now for crossover SUVs that I think the best thing to do, get out. Get behind the wheel, especially on a kind of terrible snowy day like today, and really get a sense of this vehicle. I can absolutely daily drive this, no problem. I mean, it's great in the winter, it's great on fuel as well, and it only gets better if you look at the hybrid model. But I think for the price, give me the Apple CarPlay and the safety, and I think the good looks on the exterior. This particular one we didn't even really talk about, but it's called Atlantis Blue, and it's such a good color out in the sunlight today, especially with all the other options you can get. I mean, there's so much flexibility and range to the Tucson lineup that I think you gotta get out, take one for a spin, and see what you think. Now that was just a quick wintry drive in the new Hyundai Tucson. Now if you have any other questions or you'd like to schedule a test drive, you can visit us online at walser.com or stop by either one of our Hyundai locations. We'd be more than happy to help. Thanks again for watching.